be 42 entries for the giveaway based on comments and VRs. VRs got 2, comments got 1. A couple people got 3. I'm gonna roll through from the top, and this is who I had down on the video. Just in Time Prepping, Phil M. Rivers with 3, Van's World, Eltinda Fabrizio with 3, You Can Do It, Kaylin Strain with her 3, Scott F., the Crazy Scotsman. And these are all channels too. If y'all don't know these, I think pretty much all these new videos are involved in the community some way. They're either gun channels, survival channels, talk about prepping. There's a couple that are travel, like Van's World, like traveling and seeing things. He actually did a video right in my hometown where I grew up. I commented on one of his videos. That's kind of how I found him. So yeah, go check these guys out. The Crazy Scotsman, Bobby Solar Homestead, also AKA known as Yankee 4. Road Below, RG Homestead. He frequents the channel quite a bit. Native Tears. Native Tears has been around for a long time. She goes back to the old Green Dragon days. She does a lot of horticulture, I guess, gardening, and a lot of nature stuff like that. Really good stuff. Smolo, Smoking Locust. George Rebel, Winging It Tracy. He's a Nevada guy. I don't think he does videos. He did a couple, but he's not like real active, but he frequents the channels and chats. Land Run 89, who did a really good giveaway last month. Broseph Russell Outdoors, VRO channel. Go check him out. Iron Witch 1811, who's been around for like a coon's age, since like before the dragon. Bikes and Bullets. If you don't know bikes, Mark there's been around for a coon's age as well. I think he popped into the chat here for a second. Yeah, there he is. Nope, you didn't miss bikes. We're just getting started. I wanted to show all the VRs and everything first before I did the drawing, because I want everybody to get the shout outs and everything. And so Dash Out, Big Dog Leather, which as the name suggests, does a lot of leather work and such. James Mack, J Mac with his entries. Jet 001. So Jet got 3 entries and he got a good shout out of this whole thing. Michael Gilchrist, who grew up in the Old North, or didn't grow up, he lives in the Old North State now. HRM Weapons Machinist. Nevada Tony 702, also AKA known as Tactical Tony 702. Wake Up Canuck, one of our resident Canadians. And M Long 5151, one of our morning chat patrons, also does a lot of boat work. He is involved in boat racing. A lot of his videos are about that. Saints and Sappers, our resident Army dog. Everybody's got to have at least one, right? So he's in there. Pam's Great Outdoors Adventures. Mr. Tommy Boy 9 in the chat, live and in charge. There's your entry. And the Green Dragon Tavern chats, which I believe is Mule, but I mean, Mule owns the account, but he commented on the video as the Green Dragon Tavern, so that's the way it's entered in the contest. So that gives us 42 entries. I'm over here on random.org. We're going to start, I've got 4 dry bags ready to go. We're going to start with this green one. If you had a color preference, you don't get one. Sorry. They're neon anyway. It's not like they're camouflaged, but you can always spray paint it. So here's our first generate. Let's get this centered, make sure everybody can see it. We're going to start off with 38. 38 is M Long 5151. If I'm lying, I'm dying. There he is. All right, M Long, you might see this at some point. He frequents the channel quite a bit. I'll send him a message, see what he wants to do with that. You can always pay it forward to somebody else if you would like to decline. And write this down so I don't forget, or I have to go back and watch the video, I guess. I absolutely have to. So M Long is our first winner of the green bag there. So you will see a green bag in the mail unless I really mess up the mail cycle. you'll know it's custom for you. Maybe not custom, but hopefully it becomes useful and you just have a good kit set up, help you build up your kit, whatever you got. So we'll take M. Long's name out to shorten this process. There's no confusion. Brings us down to 41. All right, next draw is going to be for the yellow bag, yellow bag, yellow bag. All right. And the drawing is number 9. You can do it. There it is right up there. You can do it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I'll have to get a hold of him somehow. I'm not sure. His email might be on his channel, but we will hit him up. If anybody knows you can do it, spread the word. Let him know. He's a winner in the great HDP giveaway. Yeah, if you don't know You Can Do It story, go check him out. He's an amputee, got a very motivating story, and that's what his channel's about. You can do it. If he can do it, you can do it. If he gets into the prepping and stuff and just being prepared for the disasters. And he lives up in behind enemy lines, kind of up in New York or New Jersey. He talks like he's from up there somewhere. I can't tell the difference. But go check him out. Take out him. That brings us down to 40 entries. And next is going to be an orange bag with the contents inside. 1 out of 40 chance. Even you could win this. And number 40, the Green Dragon Tavern. So I'll have to let Mule know, unless Mule's popped in here in the meantime. He might pay that forward. We'll see. The Green Dragon Tavern 1. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So we'll take out number 40 there. And we'll go down to 39 here. All right, so last one is another green bag. Another green one with the contents inside. Contents, secret, super secret contents. I think I'll go over them here in a second once I get this drawn, just to quickly go through some of the stuff. I won't go through everything, but final generator, 1 through 39, right? Number 4, Phil M. Rivers, winner chicken dinner. All right, Phil, if you're still in the chat, I know he was in here at the beginning.
All right. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to September the 3rd. So if you didn't hear, there's the winners for our great HDP giveaway. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And it looks like the usual suspects are in the chat this morning to gloat about their winnings. Hey, good morning, M. Long. I don't know how to hit you up. I looked. You're not on the G+. I couldn't figure out a way to message you. So you got my email on my channel page there on the top, thehdp13@gmail. Let me know what you want to do. I guess you can do it. Already emailed me, so that's cool. Take you back to our regular broadcast day. Weather-wise, we'll get started. But yeah, we had a good chat yesterday with the giveaway. Our fun was had by all. So it looks like, once again, rain and more rain. It looks like a tropical storm is brewing off the coast of Florida. That's right up front here. And bring in some heat, it looks like. It's listed as a tropical storm. So our friend Angel R probably might be hunkered down a little bit. Looks like it's already parked itself over Florida. Let's get a listen here and see what they got going on.
I gotta get my GED. I went through your high school records. You was a horrible student.
The breaking news we have in South Florida, this certainly could cause issues with travel into South Florida today. We now have Tropical Storm Gordon just named. They will be putting out tropical storm warnings here into South Florida and the Florida Keys. They're just working on it. It's a matter of actually just getting the data out type of a thing.
Exactly, but winds estimated 45 miles per hour. The position about 10 miles to the west of Key Largo. And look, the impacts are here already. We are feeling the heavy rain. We are dealing with it for travelers. There are some delays at Fort Lauderdale right now and expect more of that through the day today.
So yeah, it looks like that storm is upon them. Kind of got started on them without even giving them any warning. I don't know that I saw anything. Hush up here. But that definitely looks significant, even though it's only a tropical storm. Yeah, you can do it live. I was just showing the replay of last night.
Through the Keys as we make our way through the afternoon hours. Here come the storms.
Hush you up there. My goodness, I'm all over the place this morning. It's like I'm out of practice. So they already got storm warnings up even for the Gulf Coast. I guess they're expecting it to target New Orleans area. So be on the lookout if you had any travel plans for the week. So possible within 48 hours, so within 2 days. Could be up in this southern Alabama area or all the way over to Louisiana. Conditions likely, tropical storm warning. I think the good news is it probably won't develop any larger as it crosses over into the Gulf. This time of year, cooler temperatures. My supposition, totally unscientific, just going off of what I've heard previously. So yes, be safe down there, y'all. I'm sure that could probably just change track too if it decided to. That's kind of the way those things work. Like we saw with the one with Hawaii, it kind of took that hard left, kind of left them alone, just gave them a lot of rain. So with tropical storm, it'll be a lot of rain, but hopefully not too damaging winds, all that good stuff. 60-mile-an-hour winds projected, moving up into Texas, Oklahoma. All right. So we had been talking about how quiet the hurricane season had been so far, but we still got another month and a half or so of potential out there in the Gulf and the Atlantic. They were talking the other day about the ones forming off the coast of Africa. They were there having their eyes on. So we'll have to see how those things develop moving forward. But out here in the West, it's been pretty dry still. Had a plane crash over here on the mountainside, started a wildfire yesterday. I think they got it out pretty quick, even though it was kind of remote. I guess they probably used helos or something. But I guess some plane crashed that's weird. Plane crashed middle of the day, wasn't really like windy or anything. All right. So we'll move on. Got quite a bit pulled up here. Some things to reattack that snuck by us on the weekend. But first and foremost, yesterday afternoon, down at Del Mar Racetrack, some fella, I guess, was going to buy tickets during the middle of the horse race for an Ice Cube concert, and he got upset they didn't have any. And he started opening fire, and a deputy, I guess, took him out, which is good. Good one for the good guys. There was a short snippet on Twitter of the guys calling the horse race, and all of a sudden, pop, pop. They're like, hey, there's gunfire. But I guess he didn't hurt anybody. The deputy took him out shortly, which is good. A man pulled a gun and fired several shots when he was told he couldn't get a ticket to the sold-out Ice Cube concert. What are the odds? How come that never happens when Hank Williams sells out? I don't understand. You know? So sheriff officials said a man had gone to a ticket window around 6:40 p.m. hoping to buy a ticket to the concert. Became upset when he was told there were none available. An argument ensued and nearby deputies responded. The man pulled out a silver-plated, at least he was going large, right? A silver-plated semi-automatic handgun. So you figure that was probably a Desert Eagle or something? Or probably not, but he had a fancy one, whatever it was. Just got to use your imagination, right? What was that gun in what's the gun where the guy had the two doing handguns? They made a video game out of it. Man, that was a long time ago. Anyway, he fired the shots into a crowded area, apparently. Deputies engaged and returned fire. Shooting occurred during the final race of the day and created a chaotic scene, you think? The man was shot and taken to the hospital by ambulance. His condition was not known. This was as of last night at 8:30, though. This hasn't been updated. One video posted on Twitter showed a female sheriff's deputy pull her gun and fire what sounded like 4 rounds after a man standing near the entrance gate is seen pointing a weapon in the air. I didn't see that video. I did see this one. It talks about the TVG broadcast of the race was posted on Twitter. Announcer saying there's gunfire at the track. Yeah, you could hear it too. People are losing their minds, folks. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for sure. I wonder if I'll show some of this video of that officer and stuff. It looks like there's no commentary or linked footage in that. Just all visual. After the fact video. So anyway, no further information to be found there. But there's another good reason to leave the wild state of California. People are losing their minds, if you didn't know that already. And they want you to go around defenseless when all this goes on. Doesn't bode well for anybody. Another news story that popped up yesterday, last night, Brazilian National Museum basically got decimated by fire. We'll see what kind of images we got here, but the ones that were coming over Twitter were just imagine the Smithsonian basically being completely engulfed. Pretty bizarre. You would think a place like that would be fairly well fire mitigated. Like we have fire suppression in all our museums and stuff. But the 200-year-old museum Rio de Janeiro, the 200-year-old museum in Rio de Janeiro was hit by a massive fire, threatening its collection of more than 20 million items. I would say it didn't just threaten them. They're probably most of them gone. No information on potential deaths, injuries, or cause of the fire. This was updated at just after midnight GMT, so it's been a few hours. Let's see if this other story updates any of it. The museum is tied to the Federal University and the Education Ministry. Was founded in 1818. It houses several landmark collections, including Egyptian artifacts and the oldest human fossils found in Brazil. Okay, we'll see what else. But this, the Daily Mail. Hopefully they have some images here, or we'll have to surf to the Twitter to go find them. No word yet on the possible cause. This was updated at this morning. Okay, so it's been updated more recently. And this is the morning pictures. Okay, you can see it's entirely gutted. The whole roof's gone. Everything on this top floor, at least, is gone, it would look like. Still putting out the fire this morning. What are they? Are they an hour ahead of East Coast time just because of the way the shape of the earth? The way they can't out there? They're like 1 time zone ahead, I think. Yeah, you can see that there's several floors of. The images made it look like the whole building was on fire, not just the top floor. So we'll see. Yeah, there's going to be catastrophic loss on the history side of this. What wasn't pulled out. Let's see if we got some type of video on this. Looks like it's just the video from last night. It's just catastrophic loss, you can imagine. Just imagine the Smithsonian getting caught on fire. You can imagine how bad that would be. Fire broke out after the museum had been closed for the day at 7:30 p.m. local time. Somebody left an unlit cigarette or lit cigarette laying around or something. Things like that don't just happen. You would think. Here's an example of some of the stuff that was lost. This is a Roman fresco which survived the Vesuvius eruption in Pompeii. Is believed to be among the items destroyed in the fire. So literally millennia of history are probably contained within. Like I said, the first human remains from Brazil are housed there. or the oldest known remains, I guess. Some pretty stark images. Looks like they had some stuff, prepped items, probably just items they secured for the night in waterproof containers and stuff, it looks like. Some forensic equipment this guy's carrying to evaluate stuff. Museum houses several landmark collections. Get out of there. Just really stark images. I imagine there's probably some online site where you could probably see a list of some of the items that were contained in there. They probably just don't want to speculate, even though it looks like it's a total loss. Like, it didn't burn down to the ground because it's made of stone, but it does look like it burned all 3 or 4 floors internally. Pretty catastrophic. And no fire suppression, apparently. But Quasar made the comment, first they destroy your history, when he posted it on the G+. And you got the between the invading Venezuelans with their collapse and the currency problems in Argentina, Brazil is surrounded by issues, not only their and also their own. Oh, the side chat's fired up. Hey, we got Walter Davis. Hey, good morning. How you doing? M. Long got back from his race this weekend. Right on. We go see some video of that, M. Long. Are you saying the boat racing is a sport for masochists or horse racing? I wasn't sure which one you're talking about. Hey, Tony, what's up? Good morning. Nevada Tony 702 has joined us. All right. So yeah, that's going on in Brazil. So it's with our holiday today. This article caught our eye yesterday when we were kind of doing the drawing. At the end there, we kind of just browsed. Thought I'd pull this one up. So there was an article that was linked on the Drudge that Americans were grilling more steaks for Labor Day because it was a great economy, and we started hypothesizing maybe that's not because the economy is great, but because things are on a fire sale because of all the tariffs and other issues. They got to get it sold, and that after that inventory sold, then there will be a large spike in prices due to the shortages. But I think they're going to delve into that a little bit. Because everybody figures if you're buying steak, things must be living large, right? It could also be the peak consumer economy too. So it goes into it here in their discussion of it. The appearance of a bustling economy thanks to a second quarter growth numbers inflated by shifts in consumption to avoid upcoming tariffs and low unemployment in the gig economy has sparked consumer demand for beef, typically considered a delicacy food to many. this graph right here is the funds. This is the bets on rising beef demand. So the amount of money being put into the commodities, beef commodities, are exponentially higher, which you would think would cause a rise in prices. So are people buying more expensive steak? I was kind of thinking it probably might be on sale because of high supply, but I could be wrong. A few months back, it was reported a mountain of meat is building up in cold storage facilities around the U.S. There we go. Spurred by a surge in production and President Trump's trade war that is pressuring foreign demand. More than 2.5 billion pounds of meat from beef, hog, poultry, and turkey are being stockpiled in cold storage warehouses across the country amid these trade disputes. There you go. I think we covered this back a couple of weeks ago, like back in July. So this is via the Agriculture Department. This graph here shows the increase, especially in turkey up here at the peak, to where we're at peak storage, 2.5 billion pounds that hasn't been seen since last year. So it could be cyclical, but it is kind of trending upward across all meats. Chicken at the bottom, you can see how it compares. So this is kind of what I was figuring. The tariff issues were having a problem with meat prices because of the surge in storage, and then that'll spike prices after the supply goes away. So deflation in meat prices have triggered increased consumer demand, right? You get cheaper meat, you're going to go buy it, right? But not all levels that are in pace with record production of chickens and hogs. Hey, I'm record producing hogs. I know how that goes. The excess supply is generally exported to Mexico and China, but obviously China's got huge tariffs on it. Let me pause this sucker down here. But we've recently put tariffs on both of those countries, whatever. So according to the Wall Street Journal report, hams, chops, and livers have become more expensive in international markets, coupled with a strong dollar weighing on those foreign currencies, which has dramatically reduced the demand for U.S. meat. And there you have it. It's cheaper to sell here for the time being. Specialized warehouses that store meat are packed full. So go buy it while you can, folks. Once the supply goes, the price goes up. And according to a Bloomberg article, a drought caused ranchers to reduce herds to a 6-decade low in 2014. And beef prices shot up to an all-time high. The meat was so expensive it forced consumers to cut back. With consumption declining to its lowest since the 1970s, now even with cheaper prices and big supplies, demand still hasn't bounced back to where it was before the recession, which means there's still plenty of room for increased buying, according to the Bloomberg article. And that's all in this graph chart here. So if you're having steak for this Labor Day, live it up. Or chicken or anything else for that matter, looks like. They got some forecast stuff here. But the effect of those tariffs is definitely going to be felt in the long run, depending on how long they last. So the question at the end here, so is surging beef demand really a symbol of a roaring economy, or is it that a deflationary collapse in prices has found the sweet spot or equilibrium of where beef is now affordable once more? Which I would go with that latter. It's just because it's affordable, because the supply has balanced demand. Something to think about when you're seeing economic trends or seeing stories, talking about things are really great. You got to look really into the numbers and determine what is causing the productivity or issues or whatever. Hey, good morning, Stefan. What's going on? We're just getting ready to get into your territory next. Pulling up the next article here. And that has to do with the German situation. They had those protests in Chemnitz, and there was a article floated that Germans were too lazy to counter protest the racists, and so Zero Hedge picked up on that and decided to go after that angle, I guess, and just expose those fools for who they are. But they've been basically blackballing anybody in Chemnitz who was protesting that fella a couple weeks ago now, and they're trying to downplay the significance of the protest and the rights and stuff like that. Significant amount of the population who is just fed up with the situation. So you can see the headline: Germans too lazy to counter protest racist demonstrations, arrested in the stabbing. Merkel effectively called Germans lazy for not counter-protesting thousands of angry East Germans who took to the streets of Chemnitz after 2 migrants were arrested in a fatal stabbing of a German man. And that's directly from an AP article. The German foreign minister also said, "We have to get off the couch and open the mouth." This is reported in the German paper Bild am Sonntag. He added, "Our generation was given freedom, rule of law, and democracy as a present. We didn't have to fight for it. Now we're taking it too much for granted." There's a good picture of some of the protests. They really filled the streets. There's a good video on the G Plus of the protest, and what it was all about, that I posted on the G Plus, forwarded from Old Bag, across the pond follower we got over there on the G Plus, so you can see that video on the G Plus that goes to YouTube. But moving on here, the demonstrations have been characterized by both German officials and the mainstream media as far right and neo-Nazis, kind of like what they did with the Tea Party here. The MSN has always worked overtime to marginalize any significant movements like that. 18 people, including 3 police officers, sustained injuries during the rallies, while demonstrators clashed with the few counter-protesters who did show up. Some 300 people were arrested and 11 were hospitalized. So they weren't exactly what you would call peaceful protests. But people are sick and tired of what's going on, too. So the foreign minister's comments followed Saturday's demonstrations of about 4,500, quote, far-right protesters in Chemnitz who were rallying against migration a week after a German man was killed in the eastern city, as we were discussing. That's out of AP, quote. Here's a Twitter account link video. It's probably all in German, but we can at least get a feel for the crowd, if nothing else. See if this well, display video. So, this looks like they're just going to argue back and forth with the press.
was die Strafbefehl angeguckt hat, was der schon auf Kerbholz hätte. Als Deutscher, gehst du in den Knast, wenn du deine Steuern nicht zahlen kannst. Und solche Leute bleiben auf freiem Fuß. Ist unverständlich. Unverständlich ist das. Und dann sind von den anderen Tatbeteiligten, die noch nicht daran beteiligt waren, die sind immer noch auf freiem Fuß und können weitermachen. Da sind noch 8 dabei. Die nächsten dann wieder ab. Wissen Sie, warum Sie waren am Sonntag da? Da ist einer an der Stelle vorbeigegangen, ein arabischer Bürger, hat gesagt, scheiß Deutsch. Und da haben die den ausgetreten. Das war der Grund. Das hat mir gebracht. Den ausgetreten haben, das will ich gebracht. Sehen Sie es immer andersrum. Jeder ist ein Nazi, der sich darüber aufregt, über diese unhaltbaren Zustände hier im Land. Genau das wollte ich damit
So it looks like the Germans are arguing passionately with each other, but no hot. That looks like a reporter they're talking to there. Nobody argue. Nothing sounds better arguing than German. German sounds angry half the time anyway, and then you actually be really angry. It does sound pretty angry sounding, but yeah, they're tired and sick and tired. Like that guy was saying there. If you see the subtitles to it, talking about the situation, how Germans get put in prison for the smallest things, but yet these guys kill a guy and then walk free. So it's kind of like that situation in England and the situation we had in New Mexico too. We just let people walk free when they just because of is it because of cultural issues? Is that really what's going on? But people are fed up. Looks like this video is off the YouTube out of RT. It's linked here as well of some of the protests. Looks like some of the altercations that went on. See how much further this article goes. I'm about to pull that up. So one of the examples here is part of the protests are the failure to deport the stabbing suspect, who's a 21-year-old Iraqi man with multiple previous convictions. And that was a responsibility of the federal authorities. A 22-year-old Syrian was also arrested. It's amazing. Syrians and Iraq, you put those two in the middle of somewhere out there on the Iraqi border, and they would both go at each other's throats, but they come to a place like Germany, and they're all of a sudden they're on the same side. It's kind of how that works. One of the things you fight your brother when you and your brother are around, but then you get somebody outside the family and you fight them. There's a video in German. The videos of the few neo-Nazis that did infiltrate the crowd, of course, are the ones that are going to be highlighted. But like they were saying in that Twitter video, is like pretty much anybody who opposes the migration is considered a Nazi by the mainstream and the government. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Let's pull up this YouTube video and see what it says. Stefan, you got any input into this? I know you talked about it last week. Have you seen anything else as we move into this? Pull this up.
Hey. Oh, man.
So I guess that one just gets you a feel of the crowd and whatnot. Definitely large. People are similar to those Tommy Robinson protests. People are fed up with the government treating their own citizens worse than they treat supposed guests in their country, who do terrible things to people, and then they get a free pass. Would be the situation there, I guess. So that closes that out. Very interesting. See how that, if that spreads. I mean, lots of anecdotal stories about throughout Europe of the masses being pretty much fed up with a lot of the immigration policy, refugee status that goes on. But will that translate to further activity like that is another question. So that kind of wraps up what we had pulled up here. Remember, if you're grilling steak this holiday, it may not last for long. If you felt like you got some cheap deals on steaks. But keep our eye on that hurricane or that's tropical storm. Looks like it's not going to get bigger coming off Florida. Stay alert on that stuff. Weather looks pretty good for a lot of us out here on the holiday. Looks like it'll be a good day for us out here. Let's go get some work done. Hey, West Wind Survival, thanks for joining us. How you doing? Hey, Tony, what you got there? Well, you think April will be too cold at 5,100 feet? What do you mean too cold? What define too cold, Tony? I mean, we're at 4,500 feet here, so that's 600 feet more. Is not like a big drastic jump. You talking about out there in the Utah? 5,100 feet isn't terribly high. Really, 8,000 feet is kind of the delineation when it gets to a big difference between where your snow line is oftentimes in the springtime is about 8,000 feet. No, there's already 30 known Sharia camps that are trained to kill Americans. You're talking about in the United States, West Wind, right? That's 30. That's, known to the FBI, there's probably triple that number. So yeah, I would say there's probably a lot more than that. Most of them are in Michigan. Barbecue? I tell you, talking about doing a barbecue in April. Is that what you're saying? Nah, you'd be fine. I mean, that'll be springtime. Think about how hot it was down there at Mesquite, and you're just going up a couple hundred feet in April. You know, it won't be terrible. Just depend on the day. You know, every day's a little different weather patterns. But you think it was 90 degrees there in Mesquite in April? It's only going to be it'll be in the 75 or so at 5,100 feet, maybe a little warmer, 80. But yeah, April would be a good time actually. Be nice. 5,100 feet's not that high. You've been living down that city life down there at 2,000 feet. You don't. It'll be pleasant. Should be a good time. All right. Okay. All right, Tony. Let me know. I'll have to adjust my schedule according. April's man. April could cut into some required training stuff that I got. I don't know. I have to check my calendar. April I already have dates set aside that are kind of like mandatory work stuff. I know that. I'd have to let you know. But everybody have a good day. If you didn't see, we did the giveaway yesterday. 2 of the winners were in here today in the chat. You can do it in M Long one. We had the Green Dragon Tavern one, and Phil M Rivers. We showed that at the beginning of the chat. You can go check out that video. Check out some of the shout outs from all the VRs. We covered that in the chat yesterday. A lot of different channels out there to go check out. If you didn't see the VRs, you can go back to yesterday's drawing, and we showed all the VRs up front with who they shouted out. And so some channels, different channels to go check out there with some prepping, some bushcraft, some gun channels. So some good variety there to check out if you didn't see them already. But that was a good time we had yesterday with that. Enjoyed everybody coming in and supporting the channel, and hopefully supporting some other new channels as well that they may not have known about. What's this video, M Long? M Long posted a link. I don't know what it's for. See where it comes up at. Oh, okay. Oh, you got your video up already? Oh, you linked to somebody else's channel? Okay, so that's from your race this past weekend? Wheeling, West Virginia, Vintage Race Boat Regatta. Why are they vintage?
Here we are at the Wheeling.
I thought all race boats were like fancy new things, you know? Or are you at the 17-minute mark? Let me fast forward here. 17. Oh, 12 seconds. Back it up a skosh. So this is you right here, M Long? That's your piece? Those are some sweet looking boats there. So as long as it's like most hobbies, you dump more into it than you get out of it, right? Some old school boats. They go pretty fast still, it looks like. So there's a good link for everybody to check out, watch some boat racing.
This event in Madison, Indiana, in 3 weeks.
Sport for fools in long, right? Is he showing you actual race? Oh, here's some racing. All right, we'll close out with some boat racing there, folks. Y'all have a good rest of your holiday if you get one. We'll just let this run through the race and we'll call it a day. So y'all have a good one. Live free.
Bye.